Okay, welcome back everyone as we learn Daf 2 of our Motzi Shabbos Marathon, starting by the new Mishnah on Daf Samach Zayin Amud Aleph, 3 lines from the top. I want to remind you that we learn to be Mekayim the mitzvah of Dibar Tabam L'Aseh Nachas Ruach L'Yitzrein. I also want to remind you that when we ask Hashem for things, like today when we bench Shrish Chodesh, we ask for Chaim Aruchim, Chaim Shel Tova, Chaim Shel Bracha, Chaim Shel Shalom. It's one thing to ask. Now a child can ask. We're banim to Hashem, we can ask. But it's another thing entirely if we give a reason for the Rebbeinu Shalom to say yes. And the fact of the matter is Hashem made the world for Torah. Bereshis bara Elikim, b'shvil Torah shenikra Bereshis. He made the world for Torah. And therefore He wants people on this world that are learning Torah. We start off in a new week with learning Torah, and then we come, even if it's not easy. It's not easy, you know. It's interesting, but it's a long Shabbos, and it's easy to say, you know what, I want to take it easy, but everybody comes on, even though it's too blat. Bravo to everyone. And it should be a good gesundheit for everybody. Again, I want to say an interesting thing. Again, I had a Maisa. We had in our colony this Shabbos, they hired a chazan. Not anything, you know, very elaborate, but somebody that davened very, very nice and sung very nice. And after my drasha, after he davened, I thanked him for davening so beautiful. So he came over to me and he says, you know, I'm a Talmud of yours, and I listened to a lot of shiurim. He said during COVID, he made up that he would give an Amid Yomi. And he did many Masechtas with people. And he says he listens to my shir beforehand. And he says, Rabbi Weiss, I want you to know it's a sweet shir. And he says, I particularly like the banter between the people. So you see that it's really interesting. It keeps people up. It keeps people involved. You know, even though, okay, look, it's not Hollywood Squares. We could have some, you know, nicer participants, but okay, we do it what we have, you know. Yeah. You were looking too happy, Marshall. I'm
dressed to kill.
Yeah.
Marshall, what do you think you always speak about you?
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'akol niyeh b'dvaro.
Bava, where are your suspenders? Your pants look all down.
A beautiful suit, but at that time.
Okay, welcome everyone. So, the Mishnah continues. HaMoicher es hachotzer. Now here, what happens is Mark sells a courtyard complex. You have to understand, a courtyard complex is a very big sale because it includes the houses that open up into the courtyard. That's a big sale. That could be a multi-million-dollar sale. So if he sells a courtyard complex, he sells the houses that open into the courtyard, the wells and the ditches and the caves. But not the movables in the courtyard. He doesn't sell the ovens and all the movables. But if he tells Marshall, I'm selling you it and everything inside it, then even the contents, even the ovens and the stoves and the mill is also sold. But if there was an independent bathhouse in the courtyard, that he didn't sell, nor the olive press shebesaycha. Rebbe Eliezer says, but no way. Mark wasn't selling the houses. Are you dreaming? Mark was just selling the open-air courtyard. Rebbe Eliezer, all he was selling is the airspace of the courtyard. Now, the Rishonim are quick to say that, you know, you'll say, well, look at the price. If it's a courtyard, maybe it's $80,000. If it's with all the houses, it could be several million. But you cannot prove it by the price. because einoi no lekarkais, there's no overcharging. So he might have charged $2 million just for the open air courtyard. So you cannot prove it by the price itself. Tan Rabbanan, hamoicher es hachotzer, when you sell a courtyard, macher batim achitzainim, you sell the outer apartments, or batim apnim. There was sometimes an inner apartment and then an outer apartment. Only the outer apartment opened directly into the courtyard, but he's selling even the inner apartments. Ubeisachul sois. He also sells if there's a sand lot in the courtyard. The sand lots were used, the sand was used for manufacturing glass. But since that's flat with the courtyard, it's different than a merchatz or a beis abad, and he sells the sand lot with it too. Not only that, chanuyas psuchas l'soicha, stores that open to the inside of the courtyard and service only the people in the courtyard, nimkarasima, is sold with the courtyard. V'she'em psuchas l'soicha, but if they open to the outside, ein nimkarasima, they're not sold with it. Pchusas l'kan l'kan, let's say the store has doors to the outside and doors to the inside, hare elu nimkarasima, they're also sold with it, but we'll see in a moment that it depends whether most of the business was on the inside or most of the business was on the outside. Rabbi Eliezer, Rabbi Eliezer is much more restrictive. Rabbi Eliezer, if you sell a courtyard, you're only selling the open air space of the courtyard. Amar, we learned, if it has doors opening to the inside and the outside, it's sold with it, but we learned, it's not sold with it. Says if the majority of its business is to the inside, that's sold with the courtyard. If the majority of the business is to the outside, that's not sold with the courtyard. Now, we're going to be introduced now to the fact that there's three different terms used to describe a courtyard. Dirasa, a courtyard complex, darta, and chotzer. So Rabbi Eliezer says, no, if you sell a courtyard, you only sell the airspace of the courtyard. Amar Rabba, Id amalei dirasa, if Mark says, I'm selling you the complex, then even Rabbi Eliezer agrees. The kuli amalei pligi debate mashma. It includes also the houses. Ki pligi amalei darta. Ma'asav tabitza mashma. Darta is a garden. It's only the open air space. Or ma'asav abate mashma. It means a complex. Ikidami, there's another version. Amar Rabba, dirasa for sure. But not only that, even darta. It means the whole complex. Keep pligi damalei chotzer. He just said the courtyard. It means the open air space of the courtyard. Just like when it says the dimensions of the chotzer hamishkan, it includes the mishkan as well, because that's included in the dimensions of the chotzer. So also when Mark sells a chotzer, he includes the entire complex. Let's say let's say Mark sells to Marshall a sand lot and a fish pond. It's one shot in Metzula. Or it's a riverbed where you dredge up things at the riverbed. But we'll learn a fish pond. Mark sells to Marshall a sand lot and a fish pond. Hilzik b'chulsis, if Marshall makes the chazaka on the sand lot, like kana mitzula, he doesn't acquire yet the fish pond. Hilzik b'mitzula, if he makes the chazaka on the fish pond, like kana chulsis, he has to make a separate chazaka on each one, since they're not next to each other. He has to make a separate kinyan on each one. Says, well, that's a big chiddush. Ini, is that so? Let's pick a big magnate over here. Okay, Mel sells 10 pieces of real estate to Shelley. in 10 different countries. He sells a house in Arad, and a place in Boca, and a place in the Hamptons, and a place in California, a place in London, a place in Australia, a place in Johannesburg. If Mel sells to Shelley 10 fields in 10 different countries, once he acquires one of the fields, kanakula. So you see, you don't have to make a chazak on each one. So why over here does Marshall have to make a chazak on both the fish pound and the sandlight? So the Gemara makes a distinction. You'll say they're not attached. They are attached, because they're all on the same globe. And the earth is one big piece. Why is it different than the sandlot and the riverbed? There they have different functions. The globe is one piece of earth. And it's both are the same purpose. They're both fields. But over here, the riverbed, the fish pond has one purpose. The sandlot has another purpose, and that's why Marshall has to make a chazaka on each one. The Ikad Amrei is another version, as we welcome in Mo Kushner for our 29th Zoomer of the evening. Welcome, Mo, as we just turned the page of Daf Samach Zayin Amid Beis. Ikad Amrei, Amar Rav Nachman, Hilzik Bechulsis. If Mark sells Marshall a sandlot and a fish pond, if he makes the chazak on the sandlot, kana mitzula, he acquires the fish pond too. So the Gemara says, well, obvious, pshita. If Mel sells 10 fields to Shelley, if he makes the chazak on one, he acquires all of them. Gemara says, I might think it's different. There, it's one block of earth, and they all have the same function. I might think, since they have different functions, he has to make a chazak on both. Kamash Malan, that he doesn't. Now, I know, Marshall's telling me, slow down, you're going too fast. Okay. Listen, if the Rebbeinu Shalom gives us a gift, and it could be easy one night, we're not going to worry about it. I want to say that I can't promise you, but Michal Avram will be happy to hear this. Marshall will be happy to hear this too. The plan is tomorrow night to have a chok. Plan is tomorrow. Yeah, I know it's been. I haven't.
Oh my God.
Yeah, no, I haven't said a chok since I got. I haven't got a set of chok since I got COVID.
Baruch Hashem, you're feeling up to it.
Yeah. So, Mirz Hashem, before I get a threatening message from my chok master, I better get back on the saddle. So now, says the new Mishnah, Hamoicher Beis Habad. Now we're going to start learning about an olive press. Now I should tell you that the olive press itself is not the only equipment in the press. There's also a mortar, which they first crush the olives, then a mill where they grind it, and then the last step is crushing the pulp in the olive press. So here, Mark, he's decided that, you know what, I'm working too hard. I'm going to get out of the olive oil business. You didn't know about this, but Bela Kinwood, if you look in the fine print of the olive oil that you buy, you'll see it says Bela Kinwood on the bottom. So, but he's getting out of the business. He wants to be, have more time for the chok. So Hamoicher Beis Habad. On the other hand, Marshall has nothing to do, so he's buying the olive press. So Amoicher Beis Abad, Mocher Es Hayam, he sells him the vat, which the olives sit in. That's hamamal. The mamal, as we'll see, it doesn't mean mamala. The mamal is the mortar that they crushed olives in. Vesa besulais. Now, for those that have the art scroll, you'll see the picture in note 6. The picture over there, the two boards that are on either side of the vat that are standing up and they hold the crossbar, those two boards that are stationary and attached to the ground are called the besulais, the virgins, because they're like two sisters, two sister boards. So as a besulais, avaloi mocher es avirim, but he doesn't sell the planks that they put on top of the olives in the vat, which the bar pushes down on those planks and squeezes the olives. Those planks, since they're not mechubla karka, are not sold. Nor v'esagalgal, nor the wheel that causes the korah, the bar of the olive press to go down onto the olives, nor v'esakaira, nor the central bar that's attached to the screw that goes down on the planks and pushes down the olives. All of these are not attached to the ground and they're not sold with it. However, when he says the olive press and everything in it, they're all sold. Rebbe Eliezer says, if you sell a Beis Abad, an olive press, the korah, the main bar that goes down, that the screw causes to go down on the olives, that is certainly sold. Rebbe Eliezer, he sells the main beam because that's the essence, that's the core of the olive press. I think I see my mother in the back there. Hi, Mommy. You should know, if you look at Saba's Gemara, if he has an art scroll, the picture in note 6 of the olive press, that picture was made by Yitzchak.
Okay.
I was in that story with your mother.
I don't see it.
Kibbutz Lavi was their olive press.
Yeah.
So how the olive press looks.
But Mommy, do you see the art scroll?
There's no picture.
Do you have an art scroll there?
I have art scroll.
Okay, art scroll 67B1 in note 6.
Mine has a picture.
Yeah, I see it.
That,
I saw. They show me Kibbutz Lavi down.
Mommy, that picture was drawn by Yitzchak.
I know, I believe it.
The art scroll accepted his picture. Yitzchak,
Like stuff we use on cars.
Yitzchak,
Not only that, there's a guy, Yitzchak too, who took us for a run like the other time. And what does he do in the winter time? In the winter time, he makes olive oil and makes wine as a press too.
good, good.
I walk in now, just for now to tell me that.
Yeah. Mommy, you should have a lot of nachas.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to put you on mute. Now, says the Mishnah, the Gemara, Yom, when it says in the Mishnah Yom, that's the tlofcha, that's the vat that holds the olives. Mamal, what does mamal mean? Amar Rabbi Abba bar Mamal, and this is very interesting, by the way. Do you see that his name was Rabbi Abba bar Mamal? And he's explaining mamal. There's a Maritz Chias that says that people tried to get a mimer in the Gemara that matched their name or the name of their father. So therefore it was Rabbi Abba bar Mamal who explained that what is mamal? Mafrachta. That's the mortar that holds the olives, which they crushed the olives in before putting it into the mill, before putting it into the press. Besulais, now again, look at the picture there in note 6. If you see the two posts standing up, the two vertical posts, that held the cross post, which the screw went in the middle in a hole. Those two standing posts, which are attached to the ground, those are the cedar posts, that holds the crossbar, which the screw went into. Avirim, those are kafshe. Those are the planks that are put on the olives, that when the bar comes down with the screw, presses those planks and crushes the olives. Galgal, that's the chumrasa, that's the screw that brings down the bar of the press. While kaira, that's the central beam that pushes on the planks that crush the olives. Tan Rabbana. Hamoicher beis abad, one who sells an olive press, mocher es an asarim. Now over here, when it says mocher es an asarim, he sells the boards. This can't refer to the boards, the planks that sit on the olives, because we said those weren't sold, because those are movable. These are planks that are put on the rim of the vat and attached to the vat to make sure that as they press the olives, they shouldn't spill over. And since they're attached to the vat, they're sold with it. Vesa sfolin, I skipped. Vesa yakovim, those are the vats. Vesa mafrachais, those are the mortars. Vesa rechayim atachtonis, and remember we said they're also ground in a mill. So the lower mill, the track of the mill, which is attached to the ground, avaloy el yoina, not the hopper that rides on top, because that's not attached. But when he says hu v'kol mashe b'soicha, it and everything that is inside it, harekulan mechurin, everything is sold. Ben kach loy mocher es avirim, the planks are not sold. This is Raisa argues on the Mishnah that says if you say everything that the planks are sold, sakin, not the sacks made out of goats here that transport the olives, or the leather pouches that transport the olives. You sell the central beam because the whole identity of the press El Al-Shem Kaira is because of the central beam that pressed the olives. Now, Hamoicher es hamerchatz, if one sells a bathhouse, Loi mocher es an asarim, he doesn't sell the boards that were put on the bottom of the bathhouse. Now, on the bottom, on the floor of the bathhouse, there were boards. Remember, under the bathhouse, there was a fire that heated the water. And the boards were put there so a person shouldn't hurt his naked feet with the heat of the fire underneath. Or because it was shmutzadik on the floor, so they shouldn't step on the shmutzadik floor. Vesa safalim, he doesn't sell with it the basins that they had to wash your face with water. Vesa baloniyos, now there's two gerses over. Baloniyos would be the bathhouse robes. There's another gersa over here that it's the vilois, which are the curtains that give privacy in the bathhouse. When he says, I'm selling it and everything inside it, even if he says everything inside it, he doesn't sell the water source, the tanks where the water comes from, or the sheds of wood, because the water source was used for other things besides the bathhouse, and so were the sheds of the wood. Tan Rabbanan. HaMoicher es hamerchatz, mocher es beis hanesarim. He sells also the shed that holds the wood, the planks that go on the bottom, because that's attached to the ground. Ves beis hayakomen. They would wear turbans on their head, that they shouldn't catch a draft, or they shouldn't be overheated. And he sells the shed that they held the turbans, the shed that holds the basins, and the shed that contains the curtains. Avaloyas Nisar Atzma, but not the planks themselves because they're movable. V'lo Yikamen Atzma, not the turbans. Lo Yisfalim Atzma, not the basins. V'lo Yveloyas Atzma, not the curtains. Ubezman Shamalohi V'kol Ma'aseh B'Seicha, when he says it and everything inside it, then Harikulan Mechurin, then it's all sold. And we want to welcome in Avram Sheps, and also we want to thank you. Remember, this week, Shir is again going to be at 8:15, although it should be a little earlier, but as I'm still in the country and there will be less minyanim, I might have to travel a little bit more to get Mincha Ma'ariv. I want to make sure I get time to come back here to say the Shir, so we will start at 8:15 this week. We do not have a single sponsor for Shoftim, so we're looking for that. 718-916-3100, rmmwsi@aol.com. Also, tomorrow night, in Yetz Hashem, we will try to learn a chok. That's the plan. And now we're going to do the Mishnah Yomis.
I'll take care of Shostin.
I get the rock.
Oh, very good. Very good. In honor of the Simcha, could you do me a favor and send me the names by text?
Sure.